Hello, John. You are up next, sir.
Great. How are you, Bart?
How you doing, John? John, I think Mike G put you in my new folder, right? Are you a new, yeah, or you had never
I'm a long-time subscriber,
okay.
but never called in the show before.
Yeah, because again, I've talked about this before. One of the things that if everybody who's a subscriber always gets at least one on-screen response from me. If you don't make the call-in show or if you don't want to be on the call-in show, I just record them one-on-one. Usually I do it like one time per week. So I always look at the new ones to see if there's anything that I could get on the show, and yours was pretty good from what I remember. And so we're on. So where are you playing out of?
Playing out of New York, this is a 5,000 cap home game that's actually streamed on YouTube.
Oh, really? So is this in New York City or?
No, it's outside the city.
It's outside the city. I think.
It's in New York metro area, but outside the
Okay.
city.
So I actually think that I think at the end of the live stream here today on Monday, the 21st, we have another guy who's calling in from another new live stream from London at the Hippodrome, which they just started. It's pretty easy to do these live streams now because you can get that software package that Hustler Casino Live uses and stuff kind of like out of the box. You just need to have like the cameras and stuff like that. So, if you have a home game and you guys want to watch yourself after the fact, you can even put it on automatic mode too with the cameras. It costs extra. People don't realize that they don't do it at Hustler. That was the whole big thing with the controversy with Robbie because Matt Burke wanted like Ryan to have like the no peak mode. But if you wanted to do a show, you don't even need anybody operating the cameras. All you need is a person that they call him like the action tracker. All he has to do is just like follow the action and fold out like under the gun folds, under the gun +1 folds. He hits fold, and then the cameras follow the action. So
Right.
it's pretty cool. All right, so 551K cap.
So this game on Sundays is a full RFID stream game.
Okay, yeah.
But on the Tuesday game, I sometimes play in. It's streamed in a vertical format, and
It's streamed in like an up and down phone format, like for shorts.
right without hole cards
Oh,
and
okay.
stuff.
Right. So it's just like a static up and down picture or something like that.
Right,
Yeah.
and sometimes the stream guy, sometimes he commentates and takes a peek at hole cards and gets them on camera and stuff like that. It draws a little different audience than the full RFID game, so he likes to do both in order to try to build some viewership.
Well, what's the name of the channel?
Socially Wild Poker.
All right, Socially Wild Poker. All right, so 551K cap. Okay.
We're nine-handed.
Okay.
I'm the effective stack at around 1750. Doesn't really come into play.
Okay.
So pre-flop, I open the cutoff with 5-6 of hearts to $20. The button calls. The villain, who's the small blind, 3-bets to 100.
All right, so heroes in the cutoff with 5-6 of hearts raises it up to 20, which is probably somewhat standard open size. The button calls, you say the small blind 3-bets to 100?
Yes. I decide, since the small blind can have more than just premium hands, and 5-6 plays well on a lot of middling boards, I decide to call.
So here's the thing about this, and it's funny too, like if it's a home game and it's a stream game, because I haven't been out to play on Hustler Casino Live in quite some time, and I am going out to Austin. I don't know if I'm going to get to play on the lodge out there while I'm out there. In theory, or if I was just playing like at the local casino here and I was trying to try my best like pre-flop, this is probably a fold with a guy behind you. Because yes, it's absolutely a defend. Like if you open from the cutoff and a guy 3-bet you out of the small blind, even a 5x, I'm 100% calling in position. But the value of this hand goes way down with the guy behind you. Now, so it becomes almost like a 4-better fold. Now, sometimes in live poker, you can kind of pick up if the button is going to fold behind you. But actually, the worst case scenario here is for you to call, I think, and then the guy calls behind you, and then you're in the middle. Now, if I was playing on a live stream like you are, Or I don't know, like how, if you have to give action to get in these games, I would never fold this hand in a million years on Hustler Casino Live. I'd be laughed out of the casino if I opened 5-6 of hearts and then folded to a 3-bet. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, there's different dynamics going on, but I just want to let you know.
If I thought the button was likely to call, then this probably would have become a fold. But I thought it was probably going to go heads up, and so I didn't think for too long and ended up calling, and the button quickly folded.
All right, so you get the spot that hero calls, button folds. A lot of people saying you should 4-bet this. We talked about how this, you can definitely 4-bet this. You have stack depth here too. I was thinking for a second, like you've got 1K. It's nice to have some stack depth. It gets tricky.
350 big blinds deep.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so you make the call, and the pot's like $220, right? Heads up. Is that right?
Yeah, it's 225 with the big blind in there.
All right, and hero with 5-6 of hearts. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So we get a flop of ace of diamonds, jack of hearts, 5 of spades.
Ace of diamonds, jack of hearts, 5 of spades. So you have bottom pair and a backdoor flush draw. Ace of diamonds, jack of hearts, 5 of spades. Hero's got 5-6 of hearts. Okay.
All right. So the villain bets 60, and I think there's nothing really to do here but call.
So the small blind bets 60, and hero calls. There's the one thing I will say about this. Now, you don't normally get to, you are allowed to raise in position versus small sizing, but it obviously depends on the board. And usually these boards with ace high, you don't get to, like, say as much as, say, if the board was like 10, 5 deuce with 1 heart and you had 5-6 of hearts or something like that. I was just looking here, though, on the surface. I don't know what kind of player the small blind is, but it's not the worst hand properties-wise, I would say, to sometimes raise here against very, very small sizing to try to get immediate folds. I don't know if it's a thing in theory, in theory land, if you could just raise, and if he calls, just take 2 cards if he's always going to check to you. It's just one of these things where if a guy is mindlessly range betting here for 25%, you could make a case that you could raise it to like 3 to 4x here, and it could be profitable if you're going to get in enough immediate folds. And if the guy calls, it's okay to shut it down, because unless you pick up like a bunch of equity on the turn, like if you pick up a heart or something like that. That's just me thinking out loud. Normally, I would say probably it's not done on this particular board, but it's a pretty small bet.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
So 345.
Right. So the turn is the 9 of hearts.
All right. So the turn here is the 9 of hearts. So you pick up hearts.
Right. Villain bets 100.
All right. So V1 bets 100. So let me ask you, do you know anything about this guy?
Oh, I play with him all the time.
So does he know what a range bet is? Like on the flop? You know what I'm talking about? Like a range bet?
Right, yes. I treated the flop as kind of a range bet.
Okay. Would you say though that like once he bets the turn, he's not going to be betting the turn with like kings or queens here?
I don't know. For this small size, still less than a third pot,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he could have showdown value, and he's trying to get to showdown without. So he's kind of blocked. He could just be blocking.
I mean, here's the thing. Like, I think you make a very, very good case here for raising. Because you're right. It kind of seems like a block. It doesn't really seem like a size, because the 9 doesn't really change a whole lot in terms of like the texture of the board besides backdoor hearts. Like I don't think this is a thing. Him going like 1/3, 1/4. Usually you'll see like small bet, right? Followed through by large bet on a brick. It's not like it's the 10 or a queen or a king, right? Which changes things. So it's kind of bizarre in that factor. And it just doesn't seem like this is like ace king, ace queen, ace jack. And the problem sometimes here with just calling and taking your equity is that if the river's a brick and then he just checks, he might check call. But if you raise now, he's gonna start thinking about like he's gonna have a decision to make like over 2 streets. And you might get a fold from like ace 10 right now.
Right. So that was my, that's the kind of the reason for bringing this hand up, because I felt later like I called pretty quick, but I felt like I should have considered a raise when I picked up backdoor hearts. The small bet really, I think the only time he's betting that small on the turn is he either has showdown value or he has ace ace or jack jack.
I mean, so T Krupta says why
Kind of trapping.
T Krupta says why not wait until the river to raise? Because you're not going to be able to raise the river unless the guy is nutted where you're going to lose anyways. What I mean by this is like this whole hand is kind of shaking up like it's some very strangely played king king or queen queen like we just discussed, or like a hand like ace 10 or ace queen or whatever that's not comfortable playing a big pot with one pair. So you're going to get checked at a lot on the river. Like if you just call here and the river's an offsuit deuce and he checks to you, what are you going to do if you miss? That's my whole thing. I mean, obviously you can take your equity and you're getting absolutely an immediate price here. You're getting 4.5 to 1. And it would just suck to like check behind and like lose to like, pocket queens because the guy doesn't know what he's doing, or like ace 8 suited or something like that he would have come off of. You know what I mean? So did you call?
So I ended up calling relatively quickly.
So hero calls. So the pot now
545
is 545. Okay.
The river is the jack of clubs.
Well,
and the villain checks.
Well, I was going to say that definitely is going to get checked by just a single paired ace or anything that he's holding. Now, the interesting thing about this actually too, though, is that I think now you can actually take, because so it's a rainbow board, right, on the flop, and villains aren't sophisticated enough to check really, really strong hands here at the end. Because remember we talked about, you said that, well, the small sizing is usually going to be indicative of him not really being super comfortable with his hand, but him thinking, top pair, he wants to put more money in, or he's slow playing, right? Like with the small sizing, like a monster. Well, now that the jack comes, I think we can dismiss now the slow plays, now that he checks, because now it's just one combo of quad jacks and then ace is full. A lot of guys just don't have it in them to check in that spot. So, you're looking at him just not having, he's going to have an ace X here a lot. The interesting part of this is that I almost like this card as a bluff, though, more than an offsuit deuce. Because I think you can have a jack here. Whereas, because he's bet so small. Whereas, again, if it was like an offsuit deuce and the guy had like ace 10, I actually think he's going to check call more often if the board's like ace jack 5-9 deuce versus here on ace jack 5-9 jack, because you can have jack X. Like this is viably a scare card for him.
Oh yeah, I definitely felt like the jack was in my range and that we could rep it.
The only thing that I would say, and again, I don't think that this, who knows what level this guy is at, and not that I would ever take this type of sizing. If I was your opponent, if I was a thinking player and you bombed this river, I would think about what hands that you possibly might have missed. And I would be like, okay, well, Queen 10, which is a Broadway straight. You had to have called the 3-bet, though, because there was a guy behind you. But Queen 10 suited is Broadway straight draw that turns open-ended. King 10 is a gut shot on the flop that I guess is still just a gut shot. And so it would sort of comprise of those Broadway draws, Queen 10, King 10, King Queen, that had to pick up hearts. So if I somehow had, if I was your opponent and I had Ace King with the King of Hearts or Ace Queen with the Queen of Hearts, I can't call. If I had one of those hands and I didn't have a heart, then it's a little bit easier of a call. Although if I have a king or a queen, I block some of your Jack X that you can have. But if I'm your opponent and I've got the king or the queen of hearts here, it's actually probably pretty bad for me to call if you blast here at the end.
We fought for a little bit
Mm-hmm.
and raised and bet 750.
So you bet huge. So you polarized here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't mind it, to be honest with you. Are you an older gentleman? Like, how old are you?
Late 60s.
Okay. I mean, would you have bet this size if you had like Jack 10 suited at the end?
Possibly.
You said you bet 750?
Yeah, 750 into 545. So about 1.5.
There are certain situations in live poker that are a little bit paradoxical, I talk about, like where, in the theory, like if you're going to polarize here, right, betting larger gives your opponent a worse price because he's calling 12, he's calling a pot of 1,300, he's calling 750 to win 1,300. So he's getting a worse price than if you were to bet, say, like 500 and the pot would be like 1,500 to call. But there's a weird thing that sometimes goes on in live poker where a larger bet might get called the same, if not more often than a smaller bet because it looks less value-y in certain situations. And sometimes you can actually bluff a value size that is a little bit less that actually seems more credible, and you give yourself a better price. Even though your opponent's getting a better price, you give yourself a better price, and it's sometimes more credible. But I think in this situation, I don't have anything like, I think it's probably okay. I mean, it's not one of these spots like in a different hand. Like, it would be really hard for this guy to find the call, I feel like, with a weak ace here. So I don't mind the play.
Okay.
Yeah. So what ended up happening?
He quickly folded.
Oh, okay.
He's a guy that tends to tank and tank and tank, and he threw his cards in relatively quickly.
I think this is like ace 10, ace queen, something like that. So
Be Broadway hearts as well.
him having Broadway hearts?
Yeah. What if he had king, queen of hearts?
I mean, I guess if he just gave up at the end. I mean, that's one specific combo of, but why is he taking that sizing though? Wouldn't you, like, why take such small sizing with king, queen of hearts here?
Yeah, no, I guess it has to be a showdown value.
It just seems like a lot of weak showdown.
Kings, queens.
Ace 10, ace queen, something like that.
Yeah, right.
Anyways, I appreciate the call. Thank you very much, sir.